Hey everyone. So I noticed the time was only 10 minutes and I was like, oh wow, I completed those three summaries so quickly. Well, I forgot chapter 15. Chapter 15 is a little bit more edgier, a lot more eventful. It goes really great with the movie that you saw. Basically, the major part is that Atticus gets word um, that Tom Robinson is going to be moved to the jail in Maycomb. And because of the change of location, all of the white men in Maycomb are upset and they want to riot, they create a mob, and they want to kill Robinson for just simply using their town jail. Atticus hears about it, and in the movie you do notice that he grabs an electrical cord randomly, and Scout, Jem, and Dill, they investigate and they notice that he's outside reading, kind of odd, and they're about to leave, and as they leave, a mob shows up. So we're going to actually read through that because it is an important part of the novel, okay? And then you will be done and be able to answer those questions. So let's go ahead and start here. Dill and I took another window. A crowd of men were standing around Atticus. They all seemed to be talking at once. "Moving him to the county jail tomorrow," Mr. Tate was saying. "I don't look for any trouble, but I can't guarantee there won't be any." "Don't be foolish, Heck," Atticus said. "This is Maycomb." "Said I was just uneasy. Heck, we've gotten one postponement of this case just to make sure there's nothing to be uneasy about." "This is Saturday," Atticus said. It'll probably be Monday. You can keep him one night, can't you? I don't think anybody in Maycomb will begrudge me a client with times this hard." So Heck Tate, the sheriff, actually warns Atticus about the possibility of a mob being formed around the fact that Robinson's being held at that jail. And sure enough, he is right. So we're going to read and move forward. We parted at supper time, and after our meal, Jem and I were settling down to a routine evening when Atticus did something that interested us. He came into the living room carrying a long electrical extension cord. There was a light bulb on the end. "I'm going out for a while," he said. "You folks will be in bed when I come back, so I'll say good night now." With that, he put his hat on and went out the back door. "He's taking the car," said Jem. Our father had a few peculiarities. One was he never ate desserts. Another was that he liked to walk. As far back as I could remember, there was always a Chevrolet in excellent condition in the cart house, and Atticus put many miles on it in business trips. But in Maycomb, he walked to and from his office 4 times a day, covering about 2 miles. He said his only exercise was walking. In Maycomb, if one went for a walk with no definite purpose in mind, it was correct to believe one's mind incapable of definite purpose. So it's obviously very peculiar, and please read the pink, that Atticus is taking the car. So they investigate. As we walked up the sidewalk, we saw a solitary light burning in the distance. "That's funny," said Jem. "Jail doesn't have an outside light." "Looks like it's over the door," said Dill. A long extension cord ran between the bars of a second-floor window and down the side of the building. In the light from its bare bulb, Atticus was sitting propped against the front door. He was sitting in one of his office chairs, and he was reading. Oblivious of the night bugs dancing over his head, I made to run, but Jem caught me. "Don't go to him," he said. "He might not like it. He's all right. Let's go home. I just wanted to see where he was." Continue to read, and this is where the mob begins to form. There's cars, there's men around him now. And this is where they start talking to Atticus. "You know what we want," another man said. "Get aside from the door, Mr. Finch." "You can turn around and go home again, Walter," Atticus said pleasantly. "Heck Tate's around somewhere." "The hell he is," said another man. "Heck's bunch is so deep in the woods they won't get out till morning." "Indeed, why so?" "Called him off on a snipe hunt," was the succinct answer. "Didn't you think of that, Mr. Finch? That means, guys, that they called a false alarm to send Heck Tate away from the jail." "Thought about it, but didn't believe it." "Well then," my father's was still the same, "that changes things, doesn't it?" "It do," another deep voice said. Its owner was a shadow. "Do you really think so?" I broke away from Jem and ran as fast as I could to Atticus. Jem shrieked and tried to catch me, but I had a lead on him and Dill. I pushed my way through dark, smelly bodies and burst into the circle of light. Imagine that, your young daughter bursting into a mob of men. That's scary. That's very scary. She begins to try to talk to the men. She finds Walter Cunningham Sr., Mr. Cunningham, Walter's dad, and she starts to ask him about Walter and how he's such a nice boy. And this is what actually derails the mob's plan because Scout is so innocent. "I'll tell him you said hey, little lady," he said. Then he straightened up and waved a big paw. "Let's clear out," he called. "Let's get going, boys." As they had come in ones and twos, the men shuffled back to their ramshackle cars. Doors slammed, engines coughed, and they were gone. "Mr. Finch," a soft, husky voice from the darkness above. This is Robinson. "They gone?" Atticus stepped back and looked up. "They're gone," he said. "Get some sleep, Tom. They won't bother you any more." And at the very end, because even though Jem refused to leave the scene because Scout obviously bursts in the middle, and then of course following Jem and Dill, Jem is the one that kind of kept, because technically if Jem pulled his sister away, she would have left, but Jem chose to stay, and that's where Scout's innocence comes to play and actually does diffuse the situation. And I'm going to have you read of how Atticus really felt about Jem pretty much disobeying him. All right, guys, now I'm done. Please finish the reading, answer the questions, try to get ahead so you can have a great Thanksgiving break. Thank you, guys.